It's just that I have sounds coming out of my headphones and out of my speakers. I wasn't prepared for the speakers.
Well, if you're a video listener, video listener, if you're a YouTube podcast person, or if you're watching us live right now, you'll see that Todd is not here tonight. And Todd's stipulation, because we had some scheduling stuff that we had to work around this week, was if you guys do it tonight without me, you have to give me 2 bonus points. And sorry to say, Todd, it's not how this works. So Todd is going to continue to remain in 3rd place tonight. So that's, you have that to look forward to. But will Mike keep his lead? I think this might be the first time you've ever been in the lead in a week-to-week bout. Like you've like passed up and down during games, but I don't know if there's ever been a moment where the episode ends, we go a week, and you're the current scoreboard leader.
I don't anticipate holding on to that lead. So
I don't know, Mike. You pulled out games last week that you have not played.
I mean, yes, it is true.
You
But again, that was a fluke. One and done.
We'll see. But we're not there yet. That's the end. We're not at the end yet. We're just at the beginning. So welcome, everyone, to the Pass Control Podcast, a show where a couple of best friends talk about the latest in video games and nerd culture. Sometimes we have guests. Sometimes we talk about Mike's cat too much. Either way, we have a new episode for you each and every week. As always, I'm your host, Brenden Groom, and joining me on this lovely Friday evening is the anime senpai himself, Saban's Michael Desir. Mike, how are you doing tonight?
Yeah, hanging in there.
That's like how it has to be, right? It has to be called, like, you have to say Saban before you can say Power Rangers, like in like a. I think you have to do that.
I've done that for the last 30 years.
What, you've said that?
Sure, let's say
Okay.
yes.
I don't know. I feel like whenever I don't know. I thought I remember reading something. It was like you have to say his name.
That's marketing. I mean, maybe that's what he wanted.
Well, because
I
there
don't
was a
think I've
brief
ever-
period where it left him. And did it go to like Nickelodeon or something? Viacom?
There was. It is like fascinating to look into that, like how the property sort of changed hands. I think
They were walk-around characters at Disney World for a brief period of time.
Wait, really?
Yeah, I think
That's kind of wild, actually.
I
The
think
Ninja Turtles were too.
Yeah, I think it was sold. The property was sold, and I do believe, it went to Disney, and then maybe they sold it back. It was one of those things where it was a package deal. I think a bunch of things just
Okay.
changed hands, and then fortuitously,
Yeah.
or depending on your stance, it went back to Saban at some point.
I definitely watched. I don't know. I feel like I've at least like skimmed through a lot of those like Netflix shows / documentaries that are like, I don't know if it's mentioned in like the Toys That Made Us one. I'm sure there's a Power Rangers one. I don't know if it's like talked about in there or something, but I definitely remember like getting a very abridged version of like what happened with things moving around. Maybe it was not that you have to say his name whenever, but I think it was maybe when the rights got to Disney or whoever else, they weren't allowed to say his name. Maybe that's what it was. Like it couldn't be like Saban's Power Rangers, which I don't know why Disney would want to do that anyway. But maybe just for like recognition, they would want to be able to do that if they wanted to. But
I want to look at this picture. Actually, that looks like that was after I stopped watching the show.
That's Zio.
That's definitely not Zio.
wait, that picture is
It's them at Disney.
the turtles.
Mm-hmm.
I'm assuming that's way older then, right?
The Turtles is 90 to 96.
Okay. Okay. That.
Power Rangers says a brief stretch in the 2000s.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is. I've definitely seen the red and pink before, but I don't know the other three.
The Turtles thing is interesting because Turtles was independent, right? Initially, well, I guess a lot of things are, but because they're like guys from Maine,
Mystic
aren't they?
Force, Mike.
Mystic Force. Okay, I have seen Mystic Force before. I mean, I didn't watch it, but I was aware of it. What were we asking, Brendan?
Like
Eastman
TMNT
and
was initially like independent out of like it was
was
two
a
guys
comic.
in Maine, right? Yeah,
I don't know. But yeah,
they're New England. I'm pretty sure they're
they're
from Maine.
local. Yeah.
Yeah, they're either Maine or New Hampshire. I think it might be Maine. But then I don't know who picked up the comics and then started I'm assuming the toys were initially like Hasbro or something. I feel like that is probably what, or maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not gonna.
Yeah, but it's
say one way or the other.
I don't think I knew that Disney swooped in there at some point. I wonder why they sold it, or they must have sold it back to them. I can't imagine they sold it to Viacom. The Nickelodeon thing is more recent, right?
I don't know. Will this one be weirder for you?
I think the Disney
send
thing.
This off.
I mean, I think the Viacom Nickelodeon thing. I think that it's more recent, but
it's still been along for a while. I feel like
it's been a while.
I don't even know what the fuck that is.
I don't like this at all.
Barbie?
That is Barbie at Disney World.
Like Disney owned Barbie at one point?
She showed up in the parks. I don't know how that. I don't know how the agreement worked, but.
Yeah, I don't know if it's going to be like Disney owned it or they just had
like
the
some
rights
sort
to
of deal to do something. Yeah.
Use them in the park.
Yeah, it's kind of like there's probably not going to be a Barbie Land theme park or a, whatever, a Hasbro theme park, or Mattel.
Mojo Dojo
House, yeah. So it's
like
on
this side of the Mississippi.
It's like the same, yes, this side of the Mississippi. It's like the same thing with Mario. Like they're not going to make even though I think if it was in the right place, I think they could have pulled off doing a Nintendo theme park that they own, but like doing that whole side of business where that's not where your business lies is like not just making a theme park. It's so many other things that you need to hire people for and do. So I guess it just makes more sense to slot them into.
I swear to God, one of the girls in this crowd is just Blossom. It's just Blossom from the show Blossom.
The one with the hat and the flower on it?
Yes.
I don't know. That's wild.
But yeah, she drove around in that pink Cadillac.
Pink Cadillac? That's what I always think of when I think of Barbie. I think pink Cadillac in Disneyland.
Correct.
My thoughts too.
Also joining us tonight is the Disney daddy himself, putting his Disney flex on fucking real time by just dropping all of these things that Mike and I seemingly didn't know about. Dominic 40. Dom, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. I need to double check, but I'm pretty sure that the car that the Power Rangers are driving in used to belong to a different drive-around character, and I want to show you guys those ones.
Okay.
Because they are scary looking.
All right. Well, while you're doing that, I'll do some housekeeping things. This episode, of course, sponsored by our good friends at Goodnight Fatty. If you're in the Salem, Massachusetts area or the North Shore of Massachusetts on a Friday, Saturday, Sunday evening, you want yourself something hot, something sweet, something fresh and tasty out of the oven, you can head on down to 1 Washington Square and get yourself a delicious fatty. And if you're unaware of what a fatty is, you can check them out on social media at Goodnight Fatty and at Good Morning Chubby and educate yourself on these tasty, tasty treats. A couple other quick housekeeping things. Are from, Mike?
Yeah.
I didn't see the picture come through.
I feel like Brenden wants to say more things, but I was watching Paul Scheer's Twitch channel at some point, and he was showing like old home movies with his. And I don't know if he said he went to Disney. It might have just been like a place. It might have been someplace else, but like they used to do those things where they would record you in like your favorite show, whatever. Like, they would have actors and stuff. And one of them was Dick Tracy. And
is that Dick Tracy?
Yeah, those are the bad guys from Dick Tracy.
Okay, I mean, I knew it wasn't this, but looking at the three, I don't know, I guess villains looking at the camera, they just look like that one sketch from I Think You Should Leave when he's like in the fucking prosthetics in the mall or whatever. Yeah, that's ridiculous. Dick Tracy also, is he the original Mask? Mask wore a yellow suit, right?
Among other things. Was it yellow or was it like orange?
I could have sworn it was yellow suit. Maybe not. I don't know. Regardless, this past Halloween, Dom, or October in Salem, there was this one guy that Mike and I walked by that had, like, was it a good mask outfit? I don't know. He was just out there all day. Like we saw him early in the day, and then later on we went back out. He was still out there fucking getting it in. I don't like.
Which version of the mask? Just like his regular suit mask?
He was in the suit, and did he
or
have
was
his
he in like the
face?
or was he in like the Chiquita banana costume?
No, he was in the suit, but he did have a hat. Does the mask always wear a hat? I don't remember. The hat with a feather in it.
Yeah, I feel like generally he has a hat
Okay.
of some sort.
But I don't
know. I normally remember seeing his bald head.
I don't think he had a mask on though. I think he painted his face green. Right?
Well, and that's just not.
I don't remember anymore. I know I'm not even sure if I took a picture of him.
I don't think I did. Anyways, a couple of quick housekeeping things. We are closing in. We are a month out from PAX East. So if you're going to be at PAX East, there are not one but two panels that you can come see me on. The first of which is a panel that I am hosting on Saturday, March 22nd at 9 p.m. in the Condor Theater. And if you're listening to the show right now live or later this weekend on your podcast feed or wherever you listen to the show, you are the first to hear of this panel publicly. I haven't put it out on the internet yet. I'm doing a few behind the scenes things to tidy it up and get it ready for a little announcement on social media. So this is the first little, not tease, I'm just telling you that we have a panel on Saturday, March 22nd in the Condor Theater at 9 p.m. The panel is Video Game Cocktail Party, Sipping on Our Favorite Games. And I won't read the whole description, but that is the title of the panel. It is a 17-plus panel, so if you're listening to the show and you are under 17, I don't think you can go at all. Maybe you can go with a Guardian. I'm not really sure. I don't really know why you'd want to go to that panel anyway, but, hey, there's that. So I have a wonderful guest of panelists with me that I will hold from revealing today, and I'll talk about them every other plug leading up to it, just because it's not public yet, but it will be public this weekend. So you can look forward to that, and then I will be a guest Sunday at noon. Let me pull up the actual... I almost just clicked the Discord window on my computer, and it would have changed it would have just like put Discord as the stream right now, and that's not what we want. So let me pull up really quickly. The other panel is Sunday, March 24th at 12:30 in the Albatross Theater. It will also be streamed on Twitch at twitch.tv/PAX2. If you can't get to the show, you can't go to the panel while you're there, whatever it may be, you can watch it live over there. Or I think PAX does leave the VODs up for however long they're allowed to leave them up. So if you can't catch it, you should be able to skim the VODs for that day and find it. But it is going to be a Nintendo. I'm trying to see if the title of the panel is here. I'm not sure if it is. But it is a Nintendo DS retrospective, and I am a guest on that panel with a bunch of other amazing panelists and a great friend of the show, host Jacob McCourt. So if you are interested in that, you can come hang out and check that panel out on Sunday as well. Anyways, I guess the other big thing is Final Fantasy Rebirth, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, which we will talk about tonight. The review embargo has lifted. So my full review is over on our website at passcontroller.io. So if you want to read my thoughts on that game, which we gave a 9, well, I gave a 9 out of 10. Todd may have a different opinion, but my score is a 9 out of 10 for that video game. I went back and forth quite a bit on where I was going to land. I think there were definitely points where I was hovering closer to 8. There was maybe a brief moment where I considered a 10, but as I got to the end and saw the whole thing through and mulled it over for a little bit, I think settling on a 9 was where I felt the most comfortable in my personal opinion. So you can read that over there, and don't worry, both tonight on the show when I talked about the game, and if you go read that review, neither one of them have any story spoilers whatsoever. I very, very brief, not even briefly or vaguely, I don't really talk about the story in any meaningful way outside of just like my thoughts on some things, but nothing that is plot related, nothing that is anything specific. There's a paragraph in the middle where I mentioned 2 very small dialogue things that are from side quests that are not story spoilers. So it's very spoiler friendly or spoiler friendly, the right term to say? No.
No. No, I don't think so. I feel
Okay.
it's
Spoiler friendly means it has spoilers in it.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's a spoiler free.
Gotcha. Okay. So regardless, both tonight on the show when we talk about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and if you read that review, neither one of them will spoil the game for you in any way. So if you are worried about avoiding spoilers, I read a lot of people's reviews after they all went live. I didn't really see any people, at least the people that I know that wrote reviews, spoiling anything. So I don't think you have to worry about the reviews that have gone out yesterday spoiling anything. So I think you're in the clear there. But I can't speak for everything and I can't speak for everyone, but I will just simply say our stuff currently spoiler free. We will have a spoiler cast at some point where we'll dive into everything. But that's not beneficial to you now and you can't play the game yet. So you can look forward to that. You can check out the review. That'd be awesome. And later this weekend or early sometime next week, you will get the chance to see the Final Fantasy VII cocktail that will go up. We'll see which day. I'm not sure what day it will go up yet, but it is over, sitting in the chamber, ready to go. So, without further ado, before we get into all that stuff, have you guys been playing anything different? Anything new going on?
No.
Have you, to follow up from last week, have you bought Suicide Squad and or Tekken? Have you made that decision?
No. I kind of forgot.
Have you played anything this week or no?
Not really. Every once in a while I'll pop into Persona 3 rather.
Have you made any like meaningful progress or still kind of just meandering?
I think I basically got as far as it would let me go in Tartarus, and I don't know when that actually progresses. So I've gotten as far as it lets me go in Tartarus, and now I'm just kind of dilly-dallying in the real life.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. Now that I can say that I played Rebirth, I was playing Reload and then immediately had to switch gears to Rebirth, which took a solid, I forget what my final hour count was, maybe, I don't know, somewhere around 70 hours. So I didn't have time for another very large RPG or really any other game. I didn't play anything else other than podcast night Fortnite with you guys in those last few weeks. So, but now that I'm out of that and I can take Rebirth out of my brain for now and not have to play it every time I'm playing something, Reload is like on my, like near the top of my list for a thing I want to play next. I just think I might take a small break just because I went Infinite Wealth almost immediately into Rebirth. And it's like, do I want to go immediately into number 3 long RPG? Like, do I want to do that 3 times in a row? I might just have a little buffer. And I will get to it. I'm playing a game called Balatro, and I will get to that shortly. And that, I think, is going to not only be an amazing game, but I think it is the right buffer for me to be like, I got this now. This is what I can chew on while I digest Rebirth still. What about you, Dom? Playing anything?
I finished Senua's Sacrifice.
What do you think? What's Dommy's take on it?
It's fairly short.
Yes.
I've already read that they've worked on this for the sequel, but the combat mechanics needed work. It was like pretty stale by the end. There was only like, I don't know, 4 true enemies you could fight at any point in time.
Yeah. The combat in that game is odd to the point where it feels like, I don't know. It kind of feels like maybe it's added because they thought like the game needs combat to like for people, but it wasn't anything like remarkable or special. I think the rest of the game is much better than the combat scenarios.
Yeah. The game definitely like stalled at combat points. I thought the like dealing with mental illness thing was really cool. Especially playing it on the Ally, I had like the surround from the handheld, so like when she's like hearing the voices, like
Yeah.
it was coming into my ears, so it was like talking through my head.
Yeah.
Which they recommend when you turn the game on. Like this is better with headphones. I can imagine like
Yeah.
how like crazy it is if you played it with headphones.
Yeah. It's very good with headphones. Also disturbing at points, but it is good with headphones.
It's you're supposed to be in the head of somebody that has
exactly
psychosis.
The thing with that and what I'm looking forward to with the sequel, and also terrified of the sequel because of it, is that like I think that studio is extremely good at, like, obviously visually that game and the new one both are visually impressive, but it's also like probably some of the best audio design like in anything, to be honest. Like it's really well done to the point where it's like, I don't know, it is. The thing with that game and what I am expecting the second game to be is that like they're just experiences. It's maybe sometimes hard to quantify them like as a game in regards to how some other games of similar caliber would maybe be, because it really is just its own thing in a lot of ways. It's kind of just doing its own thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's games that I've played that do something similar.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Jusant was pretty similar, where it was like more an experience than it was like, I don't know, a game, I guess.
Which I'm fine. Like, I mean, Immortality, which is a game that... Did you ever play that yet, Dom, or no?
I tried and it wasn't working. I was trying to play on Netflix gaming on my phone.
Can you do that with a backbone attached? Or does it not change anything?
I don't know. It's available on...
When you were playing it, though, it was like I
was playing it on the
screen?
Apple Store. Yeah.
Okay.
The Apple Store has it as like a Netflix gaming that you can download natively to the phone. Yeah, I don't know what they'll do with... I don't remember what Hellblade 2 is called. Senua's...
is the first one Senua's Saga?
Oh, no, the second one's Senua's Saga. The first one's Senua's Sacrifice.
Okay.
Because I feel like by the end, she's controlled the voices, so I don't know what they'll do for the second one.
Yeah, I'm intrigued. I think, I mean, it's definitely going to be something to experience.
Yeah, it's definitely a game that I'll play this year. Yeah. And then I have started 7 Remake.
Oh, okay. Have you gotten far at all, or no?
Not really. I think I'm in chapter 2 right now.
What are your thoughts, like early thoughts on that so far? Because you never played the original either, right?
I feel like I started it and never finished it. But I mean, it's like obviously very visually impressive.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's funny. I don't mean to go on this tangent, but like it is very visually impressive a lot. Then there's like weird things that are like extremely terrible in it. And it's usually like background stuff, and it's like not important. It's super nitpicky and dumb. But for a game that's like over the top gorgeous, it's really weird when there's moments that are just like not that. It's very
like
bizarre.
Why didn't you finish that kind of thing?
Yeah, it's really just like, if I'm remembering correctly, it's like moments where you're like high up somewhere in Midgar, and it's like clearly just the background, and it's like, listen, this game is already doing so much. Like, it is what it is. Like. It really doesn't matter. Like, it's not an actual, like, I'm not like fucking striking the game for it. It's just like a thing that stands out because the game is so beautiful more often than not.
Remake was a PS4 game, correct?
Yes. And I don't believe Rebirth has a PS4 version, which I think
and Remake was originally supposed to be a PS3 game, correct?
Probably. I mean, Remake had a long life cycle. Well, this whole thing did. I'm sure it was all kind of... I don't know at what point, like, the history of this new trilogy plus DLC
And it wasn't advertised as a trilogy.
Yeah, that's what I was
First got
like. I don't
announced, right?
think it was. I'm not sure when that was part of the plan. Like maybe it wasn't part of the plan and then it changed. I'm not really sure, to be honest. But yeah, that's definitely, I think. Well, we'll
I mean,
get there.
they turned a 30-hour game into likely 120-hour game.
Yeah, probably. I mean, the section that
Like,
remake encompasses within the actual game of Final Fantasy VII is a very small portion of the game. Like it
yeah,
is, it is not. In Rebirth, which we will get to in a second, is a much larger part of that game. It's most of the game, which now puts in my brain, having finished Rebirth, knowing where this game ends and knowing what's left in the original game, at least, it's almost what is this last part of the game? So we'll see. I expect it to just be more like a remake, where it's like here's a much smaller like footprint of what the original game was, but we're gonna do all of this stuff within this thing. So yeah, I'm excited.
yeah.
I'm curious to see where you land on that after you finish it, because for me with remake, I never played. So my relationship with Seven original is the original game is that I never played it, never had it. My brother, my older brother, maybe had it at some point, but I don't think we ever did, because he didn't really play RPGs. But we had a demo disc from a PlayStation Underground magazine that had a small section of the game on it. So as a kid, I played that demo. There was other games on it too, I think, but I played that demo over and over. But that was like the extent. Never bought Final Fantasy VII. Never bought it as a teenager or an adult. Kind of just like whatever. And then, fast forward over 20 years later, Remake comes out. I play Remake. My opinion on Remake has changed since it has come out and since I've played it. Because initially, I was like not super excited for it. I don't have that nostalgia that other people seem to have. So I wasn't excited for it in that way. And it was part of a trilogy, all these things. I was like, it didn't seem like something I'd get to right away. It didn't seem like it was like super exciting for me. Bought it on a whim. And it was a whim because I fucking bought a digital version and just started playing it, which I don't normally buy digital games and that have physical versions available. So downloaded it, started playing it, liked a lot of it, had a lot of issues with it. Came away with that. Back then, we did a spoiler cast on that game, and we weren't really giving review score numbers at that point, but I probably said on the show, and if I didn't, I definitely know I said it in private conversations with like Cam and Todd, I would probably give that game like a 7. My opinion's changed on a little bit. I'd probably give it an 8. Which is not like anything remarkable. It's just like my opinion has gotten better of it the longer it's been since I played it, which would have been 2020. But I did, after I played it, made me go back and play the original. And I'll say, if you want to play the original after or at some point, like I bought it on Switch, and it's like you can fast forward through stuff, and like you can, I don't know, like I'm not playing Final Fantasy VII original, me personally, to like grind out and like try to play this game in a way that I would play if I was like younger maybe, or had the time to play. I was really just playing it to get the story and get the characters and see the game. So I played the whole thing. I sped it up. I think there's definitely things you can do in the version that's on Switch that's like makes it not easier, but like allows you to like, it might give you infinite like revives or something. I don't know. There's something you can do that like, because the last boss fight is not easy, and I got to a point where I was like, I'm just gonna kind of cheese my way through this, because I'm not here to be like, oh man, wipe the fucking sweat off my forehead. I just want to see the game. So, but I think it's worth like the praise that 7 gets, the original game. I think the people that love it that much, like, it's deserved. I think it is a good game. I think the characters are great. Like I think it deserves a lot of the flowers it gets. So I'm curious to see what Remake does for you and kind of where you land. It is funny to see that like and if we follow through with it, like you're playing Remake, we've both talked a little bit about maybe playing like Metal Gear games this year, like kind of just like picking things that we didn't really play before from, at this point decades ago, and
To be
playing
fair,
along.
the companies are doing it to us.
Yeah. Well, they know
We
that.
got 7 Remake, we
Yeah.
got Metal Gear Remake. Um, I don't know, we got uh, the Final Fantasy Pixel Collection last year. Just
Yeah.
another way to play the games. You know what I mean? Like,
Which I'm not gonna lie, there's a part of me that wants to dive into that next as the next thing I do. Because I
you have a sealed copy of that still, right?
yeah.
You can buy. I think they started to go on sale, like individual games,
Yeah,
like
I
digitally
think
for
you can
cheap.
buy them digital a la carte. Yeah. So we'll see. So we'll get to Final Fantasy, even though I guess it just makes sense to talk about Final Fantasy now since we're already talking about it. So Rebirth, like I said, I gave a 9 out of 10. I think that game is spectacular in a lot of ways. I won't be surprised when the game comes out that people are saying this is their game of the year, this is the best game they've ever played, or like I won't. None of those things will surprise me. Did it do that for me? No. Well, it didn't. It didn't make me go, "This is the best game I ever played. This is a 9 out of 10, or this is a fucking masterpiece." Whatever. Like it has its moments where it hits those points for me, but I think I don't even know. I'm like, I've talked so much in private about this game with other people who have reviewed it, and I feel like I'm not able to verbalize it right now, even though I've had this conversation so many times. Mike and I went to see Advent Children last night because they were playing it in theaters the last 2 days as like I think it's just as a celebration for Rebirth coming out. I don't know if there was another reason for it. There was like an anniversary. I have no idea. Regardless, we went and saw that movie, and Mike didn't particularly care about spoilers, so I did talk at him about the game for I don't know, things, but it is to quote both of you, it is a game, and it's a good game at a lot of points. Like, it is a very good game. I think to just get the bad stuff, I guess, out of the way and then kind of gush a little bit about it, the two things that I had the biggest problems with were, I think the game has some unfortunate pacing problems, a little bit on the story, but more so just on the game itself. So a game is, I think, 14 chapters long, somewhere around there. And there's a lot to do. It's an open world game this time around. There's a lot more locations. There's a lot more places to see, more people to interact with, more party members, all these things going on. And I think that a lot of that stuff functions really well, and I think a lot of that stuff flows very nicely. But the game has so many moments where it adds, like we kept saying, it adds mini games, and I don't think everything is a mini game, but it will take simple things and turn them into they'll just gamify them, where it's like, all right, you're gonna do this, get a new chocobo, and it's a stealth game to get the chocobo, and certain things slowed the game down so much, and some of the mini games are great and fantastic, and you go to Gold Saucer in this game, which if you play the original, is just like the casino game area. And for a game that goes to a place that literally is for you to play mini games, I feel like they could have done a better job funneling more of this other stuff into that section, because there's still a ton in that section, but then they also sprinkle it throughout the game, and sometimes it works, and sometimes it's great, and sometimes it's funny, and then sometimes I'm like, I just want to keep going. I don't want to keep picking up crates and throwing them at a switch. Like, this is not fun. It's just slow. And those were some of my problems with Remake too. Like, Remake, I think, has a lot of moments where it just kind of slows things down, and it has, puzzles that are not really puzzles. It's just let's push this crate very slowly that you can clearly see goes from here to there, and there's not really anything there other than let's just move this thing from point A to point B slowly. And I don't know. I just think some of those things could have been executed a little bit better, especially in this game where there's so much additional content. There's so much side content, so many side missions, so many other things to do and explore. There's no shortage of things to do. Like, even if you were going to mainline this game, like just blast through it without doing any additional stuff, I want to say it would probably bare minimum be at least somewhere between 20 and 30 hours. But even that would be like, you got to be like white knuckling it, skipping things and just going. There's a lot of stuff in there. So that was one of my bigger things, was just like, especially there's a point in the middle of the game where it feels like you kind of get strung along between like heavy section of minigame things, heavy section of minigame things, heavy section of minigame things. And I just don't think it needed to be that prolific. Tease me with it. Like, you want me to know this is here. You want me to experience that. Give me a little taste. And then if I want to go play it, I'll go play it. I think it needed a little bit more of that. But when the minigames shine, they're fantastic, because there's a whole card game built into this game called Queen's Blood. That was one of my highlights of this game. I still can't stop thinking about it. I very rarely take meatier side quests in games like this and like run with it and go all the way to the end. And I beat every Queen's Blood player in the game. I sought them out. I was close to like getting towards the end game of this game and wanting to get to it because I wanted to see the story so I could, just dissect it and think about it and just know what happens. Because I mean, if you're, I won't say anything because Dom doesn't know these things, but I'll say, like, if you know where this game Rebirth ends in regards to the original game, you know that it ends at a like very pivotal story moment. So like, I really wanted to get there because I wanted to know what's going on, and all that. But the Queen's Blood was like one of the things towards the end, because you can't finish. It's like a long side quest if you want to do all of Queen's Blood, and I like went off the rails to be like, nope, I'm going to finish Queen's Blood because this is really, really something cool and fun. And it's not just a card game. Like, it's a card game that has some of the craziest characters in the game in there, like just random people and things and whatever. And it has a cool side quest attached to it, like its own little story. So it was a very enjoyable thing. Like, definitely a highlight. Like, if you, because I feel like I don't even typically care about spin-off card games, even though I'm going to talk about Balatro in a second, which is a fucking card game. But it's really well done and a fun time. So I would definitely recommend playing a little bit. The game will funnel you into it. It will introduce you to it and kind of make you play it a few times. But I think if it clicks with you at all, you should definitely seek it out, because it's one of the better things that game has hidden. Not even hidden, because it does beat you over the head with it, but it's one of the better things there if you seek out the full quest line of that. The other thing this game does extremely well, that I think is a highlight of this game, is that you spend so much more time with this cast of characters. And I think a lot of the conversations and a lot of the side quests that are focused around around party members, and a lot of the, like, even just the like incidental conversations where you're in cutscenes, when you're walking through the world and stuff, there's so much more humanity injected into these characters. And I think they just do a really good, like, the voice acting is really good. The game's dialogue does a really good job of kind of just showing a lot more depth to the characters. And it's the first time, well, not the first time, but it's the most that any Final Fantasy VII related thing has ever made me care about this cast of characters. Like, it's really, really good in a lot of ways. Like, Barrett shines a lot in this game. I mean, they're all good. Even, like, you'll see it more, Dom, as you're playing Remake. Like, Cloud is kind of just like, he's kind of just like a hollow character at points, and he's like very short and like very like stoic in a lot of ways. and he still is that because he's still Cloud. But there's little moments where he perks up a little bit and little moments where he changes. But it's also just like this cast around him is so much more just in the world around him, because even the side characters and side missions and just like other things in locations, like even him just still being like his dialogue response being no, it works so much better because everything else around it is just so much more. So that's like some of the best stuff for me. And then the combat is just, I mean, the combat is fucking butter. Like I will put it on anything, slice a knife through it, goes right through. Like it is unique because I don't think there's really any other game that does this sort of hybrid, like turn-based action thing where it's like you can slow it down with menus. You have you done a lot of combat yet, Dom? I can't remember how slow the beginning of the game is.
I've done a boss fight.
Oh, does it start with the bombing mission? You did the fight the robot. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Is the combat like, has it clicked for you yet, or is it confusing?
I mean, I understand it. I still think I like 16's better.
Okay. Yeah, 16's is definitely more action like focused.
Yeah.
When I first played Remake, and I think Todd had the same opinion, it was both like kind of what, like we couldn't get a full grasp on it, but once, at least for me, once it clicked, it
reminds me of something else, and now I can't think of what it is. I feel like there is another one that kind of does that, like you're in the fight until you like want to make like a secondary selection, and then you can kind of slow the world down. But I can't remember what it was that I was recently playing that does that.
Yeah. Like I like how it works a lot, and once you get like flowing and going, it just, especially like later in the game where you have a lot of abilities unlocked and all these things, it's just like it's so fun. I don't know if you know about the combat in these two games, Mike, but basically like it is a action-y game, but so Final Fantasy VII Original had a thing called the ATB gauge, which was basically every person on the battlefield has a meter that has to go up, and you can't do an action until your meter fills up. And everyone's on that timer. You can do things to make the timer go faster or slower, so you can maybe attack more or whatever. And the way that this game works is you have regular attacks that you can keep doing, and that helps fill your meter. Once you have meter, you can then do a bunch of other things. Use items, magic, abilities, whatever it may be, synergy attacks. And when you go into like the menu thing on the fly, which I think is just like pressing one of the triggers, I can't remember now, or triangle, I don't fucking remember. I just played this game for 80 hours and I can't remember. But you press one of the buttons and it pulls up in the bottom corner like a small menu of like what you want to do with any of the characters. And the game doesn't stop or pause. It just moves extremely slow. So it's like there's still a little bit of, I can't just sit here and like wait, because if you do, eventually the collision will happen. Like people are going to attack you or whatever. So it just, I don't know. Like I love this. Like it goes from super fast paced to like slow down, but it's like not a real slow down. It's like, I don't know. It's like a cool little, it's not a gimmick, but it's just like, it's a cool way of kind of merging a game that was a turn-based game in a more like fast, fluid action, like RPG. I don't know. It's really cool. I love the combat in this game. It makes me sad because after whatever the third game is called comes out and is done, they probably won't ever do this battle system again, which makes me sad because I think it's really fun to play around with. But yeah, the combat in this game is phenomenal, which I expected because I really like the combat in Remake. Yeah, I mean, I talk about it in the review. I talk about more of the stuff in the review if you want to go read that. And like I said earlier in the show, we'll have a spoiler cast at some point after the game comes out with a bunch of guests on who have also finished the game, so we can kind of chat about that in depth and talk about the things that I'm sure people will be talking about for quite some time after the game comes out. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like I can't say more. About it. You want to say something, Mike? You're smirking a little bit.
No, I'm laughing at something else entirely.
Oh, okay. So yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's good. It's a good game. 9 out of 10. The last thing I want to talk about before we wrap things up is a game that was sitting in my inbox, and I had to wait until I finished everything I needed to do with Rebirth. That as of, I think, yesterday was the first day I played it, or maybe 2 days ago. Regardless, I've already played it for more than 10 hours. A game called Balatro, which it's seemingly having a lot of breakout success. A lot of good word of mouth has happened over the past 2 days. It's only been out for like 2 days. It is a poker roguelike, which for me is I love poker, and I never play poker anymore. And I feel like most poker video games never hold my attention. Like I never want to play a poker video game, even though I love poker. I used to watch poker. Like I liked poker a lot for a long time. And I like playing cards. Cards are just fun. But I also don't never really click with any of the card roguelikes. They never seem to grab me. So when I had seen this poker roguelike fusion, I'm like, okay, this is definitely up my alley. Let me get my hands on this thing. Maybe it helps me that I know the rules of poker, even though this is not poker. You haven't played it yet, Dom, right?
No.
So it has a lot of the same rules as poker. Like you are playing to basically play poker hands. Like you want to get good poker hands. Like playing a pair is not as good as playing a flush or whatever. Like you want to get good poker hands. So you start each run with a deck of cards, 52 cards, four suits for every card. Like you have all the cards. That's your deck. As you progress through each run, the same thing with any roguelike, there's a lot of randomness. So you can't necessarily do all the things you want to do because you're at the mercy of a bunch of different systems working together. One of the main systems is the jokers, which you have a separate thing on your screen to hold initially 5 jokers. You can unlock other things that might open that up to more cards, but the jokers augment your deck in different ways or augment how you can score your things. So there's jokers on the more easy strategy side, this will give you a multiplier bonus for your score if you play a flush, and that's what the joker is. And then on the higher end of things, it's when you're trying to really get into it and build out deeper strategies, there's things that the joker to your right will get destroyed every turn and will feed into this card and make this card's multiplier bigger, blah blah blah. So you want to there's a way high level strategy that you can keep building on and learning and unlocking new cards. And I think what I like about it the most, because I think if it was a different way, it would maybe be harder for me to. I don't know. Maybe I would still enjoy it, but because you start with just a deck of cards each match, I think that's what keeps me fully fucking wrapped in. Where it's I'm not building a deck. I'm just taking a deck of cards, and then based on the mercy of what the run is giving me, I have to make my decisions kind of on the fly of how do I want to build this run out, which I think most roguelikes do. So there's that whole element. Then there's multiple other systems at play, like the Arcana system that introduces Arcana cards or, tarot cards that all have their own different types of augments that can augment individual cards, augment your deck, augment jokers. There are moon cards, which will augment, they will change how a certain hand, so hand being, if you play a flush, it's going to give you this amount of points in this multiplier. But if you were to get a flush moon card and apply it to your run, it would make flushes better. And you can do that for every style of hand with the corresponding moon cards. And then there are vouchers, which are like permanent upgrades within the run that kind of carry over, and those do different things. And then there are, I feel like there's one more card that I'm forgetting. Did I say supernatural cards already? I don't remember.
I don't think so.
No.
Those will essentially like, those are a little more like high risk, high reward. They'll do some kind of bigger changes to your deck or to your hand or to your jokers, and it's kind of like you got to cater to that if you're going to choose to do that. And each time, so in the way that it's set up is it's a run is 8, what they break them down as antes. So like eight rounds of poker, and each ante is a small blind, a big blind, and then a boss fight, and they ramp up in difficulty. So the two blinds, the big blind and the small blind, are the small blind and the big blind. Those will be like, you need to clear X number of chips, which is like the run currency per match, like at a poker table, like chips. So it's like you got to get 400 chips to beat the small blind. You can choose to skip the small blind, and in choosing to skip the blinds in a particular ante will like give you other potential augments, but the trade-off in skipping is you can't make money for your run by doing that, nor can you go to the mid-match store, which would allow you to buy more jokers or more card packs or whatever it may be to augment and give you better abilities and stuff. So there's a lot of like, for a game based on poker where you're not betting with like chips based on the hand you're getting, you're betting in every other way of like, is this the right gamble? Do I want to take this shot or do I want to take this shot? Do I want to open this pack or that pack? Like, it's all these like mini gambles on the side. It all just like, it feeds into the poker theme super well. Obviously, it's built around how poker operates with not just the deck of cards, but all of the scoring systems are built around poker hands, specifically Texas Hold'em hands. It just all works really good. Like this is this year's fucking Vampire Survivors for me. I'm gonna play this game too much. It's very, very good. If roguelike card game is of interest, definitely check it out. If roguelike poker game is of interest, I think I will be surprised if you don't like it. It's very fucking good. Like, again, I was desperate to win my first run. I had so many long runs that went well, blah, blah. Last night, I got my first win, and then I almost got my second win right after. I was so close. I lost the final boss by like 1,000 chips. It was so aggravating. I'm in a Discord call with a bunch of friends of the show, and Alex and Brenden, I'm streaming it in Discord, and they're watching me play, and I'm getting down to the last few rounds, and I'm like playing so slow and carefully, and like discussing with them, like, what do you think I should I do this or this? Like, I'm leaning towards this, and like kind of just like building a plan of like, how can we get you to the end? And fucking did it, and it was so good. It was like 3:00 in the morning. I'm like, what am I doing? But this game is so good. So yeah, I'm gonna probably talk about this game more at some point, even though that's kind of the gist of it, and I don't expect my opinion to change on it. Like, I think my opinion's pretty locked in that like this is a fantastic game, to the point where I might write something about it just because it's really, really good. Like I don't really think I have anything negative to say about it at this point. I've put well over 10 hours into it, and I've unlocked a lot of the cards, and I've done probably too many runs. Like, this game is easily a 9 or 10 for me. Like, it is that good. It is a very, very good game. I the only way I can see someone potentially not liking this is if they just like simply don't like the rules of poker. Like, if that's not an appealing thing to them, because I think everything else built around the poker system is very clever. and it works very well. And I don't really, I really don't have anything negative to say about it. It's scratching my head looking for something negative to say. It's that good. So highly, highly recommend Balatro if any of that sounds like your jam. I think it's on everything. I'm pretty sure it's on every. I don't know if it's on mobile. I actually personally hope it's not on mobile because that would be a game I would buy on my phone, and I don't need that in my pocket. Wikipedia says Switch, PS5, 4, Windows, Xbox, family of consoles. So there you go. I'm playing on Xbox. I think most of the people I know are playing on PC. But it's real fucking good. It's real fucking good, Steve. So recommend it if that's your jam. But yeah, I think that will wrap us up. Unless anyone else has anything else they want to talk about.
No.
Okay.
Watch movies for next week.
Oh yeah, fuck! I didn't fucking even bring it up.
I didn't remember you doing it.
No,
So.
I did not bring it up. The PTC Movie Club for February is Mike's double feature. So that's what Mike D stands for. It's Mike double feature. It's actually a triple feature because we watched Advent Children, Mike. So we're gonna have to do a whole episode on Advent Children now. I hope you're excited.
The hell I am.
But yeah, we'll watch Mutant Mayhem. Is that the name of the Ninja Turtles movie? Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, which I believe is on Peacock?
Paramount.
I knew it was a P. And then the channel. I don't have it. I closed the tab. The creator. I knew it was a C. I knew it was a P. I knew it was a C.
Brendan's just like, I know the first letter of a word, so we'll just work from there.
I closed the tabs out of my thing. That's why I had everything up and I turned it off. Sorry, I apologize. But yes, we will talk about both of those movies next week. So if you want to listen to us talk about those, have we decided? Are we doing just one episode on both movies, or what are we doing there?
I don't know. It's your show, man. You tell me.
Yeah, we could probably fit both into one.
Okay. Well, then let's make. I mean, we can talk about it off the air.
It might be a longer episode.
Yeah,
but
we talk about it off the air what we want to do, but we'll figure it out. So yeah, we'll do that, and then you're next, Dom, right, or me?
Actually, it makes more sense to do two separate episodes.
Probably.
Just in case somebody has watched one or the other.
Yeah.
And that way you can.
Yeah. So we'll do two. I mean, and we won't artificially elongate them. If they are shorter, they're shorter. If they're regular size, they're regular size, whatever it may be. But we'll deal with that.
15 minutes for one show, for one movie. It's like, I don't know. Oh, it was fine. Okay, cool.
Let me pull the list back up. Are you next, Dom, or me? I don't remember.
I think this is February, right? I think
Dom is March. Dom is March. Yes.
It's the same order as before. It's just that you two are flipped.
Sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Dom has March. I have April, and then it's back to Todd. So we will talk about those movies next week. So if that's of interest to you, make sure you watch those movies. Where is the creator, Mike? Do you remember?
Hulu.
So there you go. But before we wrap things up, of course, we end every episode the way we end every episode, which is the game. And the leaderboard for the year currently has Mike sitting at 8 points in first place, Dom in second place with 7, Todd in third place with 4, and about to get worst place by not being here tonight. I'm just expecting Todd to come jump in at any minute. And then Cam is on the guest board with a couple of points, but that's all we have for the guests so far this year. But before we get into the game, thank you so much for listening to this week's episode 407. I closed the tab out again like a real fucking idiot. 407. We appreciate you. If you want to support the show, you can do that in a bunch of ways. The easiest way to do that, and the one that helps us more than you'd think, is leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to the show. Leaving a quick 5-star review is super beneficial in helping more people discover the show. So if you are listening to us on podcast feed somewhere out there, please take a moment to leave us a 5-star review. It's super beneficial. As a reminder, we do record the show every week live at twitch.tv/passcontroller. So if you want to watch the show live, or if you want to see what we look like, or you want to watch the VOD later, you can check us out on twitch.tv/passcontroller, or over on our YouTube channel. Just search the Pass the Controller Podcast and you will find our stuff. There's a bunch of ways to give us money. If you want to do that, you can subscribe on Twitch at twitch.tv/passcontroller. You can go to patreon.com/passcontroller, and you can go to passthecontroller.threadless.com and get some sick swag. Don't forget to put the PAX panels in your calendar, and we'll see you there. But before we do, we'll play a little game that we like to call Answer Unlocked. If it's your first time listening, I'll go over the rules. Answer Unlocked is a game where I read the achievements/trophies for the game. First person to get the point gets the game, gets the point. Game number 1. Run. Complete dam on any difficulty. You don't need to give me the full title, but there's a portion of it that you need to have in it for me to accept the answer. Now try gunning for 205. Complete facility on any difficulty. Fly away. Complete runway on any difficulty. Dual wielding. Complete surface 1 on any difficulty. Shooting cameras. Complete bunker 1 on any difficulty.
What was the first word?
Shooting. Old school rockets. Complete silo on any difficulty. Calm seas. Complete frigate on any difficulty. Back again, part 1. Complete.
Is this GoldenEye?
It is indeed GoldenEye. Dom gets the point, and that ties the first place spot. Let me pull up. Where did the other thing go?
Are those new achievements? Is that like from the remaster or whatever?
I think it's from the rare replay, I think.
I had almost said in my head, I'm like, enter the Matrix. And then I could not figure out why that game would have achievements.
Was it on 360?
I don't know. I don't think so. I could be wrong, but
it was PS3, right?
It's on the GameCube.
True.
I might have Steam achievements if it's on Steam. And I typically try not to just do stuff that's only on Steam achievements, because I feel like that could maybe get murky. But I did do it one time at least, because I did it for, I think, KOTOR. And Dom still got it. I just took Dom longer because he was like, I was confused because that game shouldn't have achievements.
Watch him start reading achievements for like, I guess Half-Life was
Battlefront. The
original.
Was it
Battlefront? Was that what I was reading them for?
No, you were reading it for KOTOR. I was just trying to pick another game that like pre-exist, like an original Xbox game.
Okay. 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 These doors are waiting. Finish the Great Wall chapter. Via Caravelli, Venice. Finish Venice chapter. We are searching for the right place. Finish Offshore Rig in Maria Doria chapter. Blank stamps out Yeti. Finish Tibet chapter. To the Sins and Fortunes of Marco Bartoli. Finish Temple of... I don't know how to say that word chapter. Xian? Is that Jian?
Jian.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I've seen enough. Finish Home Sweet Home chapter. I only play for sport still. Finish the game in less than 6 hours. I'll skip some of these. I'll finish that. Crime and Punishment. Lure the butler into the fridge, wait for him to make a bad sound, and lock him in there.
This is oddly specific.
Yeah, and if that's not ringing any bells, I think this might not happen.
Lure the butler into the fridge.
Would you like me to give you the through line of these 3 games tonight?
I mean, probably yes, because in my head I'm like, maybe it's a Hitman game. But even if that's true, I wouldn't know the names of Hitman games.
So because we talked about Rebirth tonight, I figured, okay, let's look at games that would have achievements from 1997. So this game came out initially in 1997, and it has, same with GoldenEye, at some point found its way onto modern consoles and has achievements.
Okay.
So this is all 3 of these games will be 1997. Depending on how this one goes, if it doesn't go well, then I will change the 3rd game. Because I thought the 3rd game would be Devil Horns. And maybe this one is.
Butler into the fridge. That does sound familiar.
I'll keep going. Maybe it will get easier. Crane Dive. Dive to a lake from the top of the guardhouse. I'm not climbing the walls for this. Do not use the ledge, but take no damage from flying blades in the Great Wall.
Is it Assassin's Creed?
Incorrect. Extinct is extinct. Defeat both T-Rexes with no evidence.
Oh, it's Turok.
No, but Turok is a 1997 game, and I almost made this choice.
Is it Jurassic Park?
Incorrect. I'm not your tourist. Finish the
Is it Lost World?
Incorrect. I'm not your tourist. Finish the Venice level without ever getting on a boat. Let's saddle up.
Then you can keep reading.
Jump into the boat from the highest height possible.
Dino Crisis?
Incorrect. No time for the plague. Don't let the rats bite you.
There's a lot happening in this game.
Cooler than Moonraker. Jump from a boat to another boat, making the first one blow up on mines.
Oh, is it Gex?
No.
Also, it's very weird that it makes a fucking Bond reference there.
Well, that's why I went Gex.
Emergency exit. Break any window with yourself in a jump. Let me skip through.
Is it Crash?
Incorrect. This game has a lot of achievements.
Very good game.
Very hard boiled. Beat the game using only blanks pistols. I'll give you a out of this confines clue. This character is in Fortnite.
Then it's Tomb Raider?
It is.
Oh, okay.
I don't know which. There might be a more specific title for a Tomb Raider. I don't know what they are.
You don't have to give me the full title, but it is not Tomb Raider. So if
Lara
you want,
Croft Tomb Raider.
no.
Well, I'm fresh out of ideas.
Do you want to steal it, Dom, or Mike? Do you want to keep going?
Tomb Raider 2.
It is Tomb Raider 2. I believe the full title is Tomb Raider 2 starring Lara Croft. That was a gentleman point. Dom could have very easily said Tomb Raider 2 because you just stopped.
I was surprised that you pulled Tomb Raider like that quickly because he said this character's in Fortnite, and I was like, I have no fucking idea what this is now.
I know when I said that, I watched your face like there's a million people in fucking Fortnite.
There's a million people in Fortnite, but I immediately, like, after I went Kratos and Doom guy, I was like, well, it has to be someone from 97, and then Lara Croft was the only
I don't know if it could be Snake.
My brain went right to Terminator. So,
well,
I was like, Terminator would never fought T-Rexes, so I don't know what this is.
I forgot about the T-Rex thing, I'll be honest.
All right. That ended up being more difficult than I expected, so we'll see how this Devil Horns goes, and we might change. Keep in mind, this is just off the top, is a 97 game. Rampage. It is not Glover. Defeat 10.
Rampage.
It is not Rampage. Defeat 10 consecutive enemies using standard weapons without getting hit. Apprentice. Defeat 10 consecutive enemies using only magic without getting hit.
Gauntlet
Legends. Damn it.
Incorrect, but that is a good guess. Incorrect. Weapon Master. Defeat 10 consecutive enemies using special weapons without getting hit. Changeling. Obtain the Bat, Wolf, and Mist transformations. You do need to give me the full title of this game. Familiar. Collect all 5 familiars in this game. Demon Slayer. Defeat Gaibon and Slagra. Bloodlines. Defeat Dracula in the Bloodline stage without getting hit.
Is it Symphony of the Night?
It is Symphony of the Night. I didn't think... I was nervous that no one was going to get it.
I didn't know which... I was debating which one it was.
Well, that ends the week with a tie in first place. Mike and Dom both with 9 points. Todd way down there at 4 points. Bye, Todd.
No, Todd gets us 2 bonus points.
I'm going to put in parentheses 2 bonus points because Todd cried about not being here. And we'll see if that even is a factor later. Because for the rest of the year now, Todd is going to go, yeah, but you play without me if I had 2 points. You'll see.
All right. Next time I'm not here when you guys are recording, I'm asking for an extra 3 points.
Can I ask to be just ceremonially put him back in first place because I wasn't here? That'll do it for this week's episode 407. We appreciate you. We'll see you next time.